Just give me liberty, or give me death.
My name is William Thomas Jr. We have a couple members of our board here from the Improvement League as well. Janelle Johnson, Henry Davis, Henry Johnson, and our longtime member Henry Johnson as well, his son in the back. Again, C.L. Townsend is a member, as well as I own is a member of the Improvement League. All right, so again, like I said, we're a nonprofit organization. It's been operating in Plant City since 1982, founded by the late Jerry Bailey, who was an educator in Hillsborough County. We mainly focus on a number of entities such as education, economic development, and a couple of noble projects in the community are the African American Museum, the Bing Rooney House, as well as the CSI, Junior CSI Forensic Science Program. We've got middle school, high school kids enrolled in the forensic science program. It's probably one of the counties.
A heavy hammer. There's no doubt about it. That can be the swing and the difference. And as a third-party platform here, it can be a swing in any direction. And both parties need to acknowledge that, need to look at me, and need to interact with me, and need to work with me. I've interacted with all sorts of different people, all sorts of walks of life throughout my entire life. You know, I interact with my football team differently than I interact with my calculus class. I interact differently with the CEO of Tampa International Airport, Joe Lopano, differently than I interact with the pipe fitter out in the field. But all those people have my respect, and I have their respect. Vice versa, put it that way. So when you see somebody that's truly in it, truly passionate about what's going on, and is there to support the people and is there to support your cause, if it's worthy, they're going to work with you. I understand there's going to be resistance. It's a fact, and you're right. But you can gain friends quickly when you are a genuine and honest person. Did that answer your question?
That's good there.
All right.
Thank you. I had a few questions emailed to me, so if you will allow me to ask them. This one I think has been controversial lately. It said, there has been considerable discussion lately about the removal of Confederate statues and symbols from public property, from public display on city streets, city halls, county courthouses, parks, etc. This issue involves the freedom of speech, racism, home rule, and more. What is your position regarding state legislation prohibiting the removal of Confederate statuary and or symbols from display in or on public property, and why? We're going to start with Mrs. Mead.
Thank you. Oh, you did so well the whole time.
I know, I can feel that.
So I'm going to go back to local government knows better than state government. If the people of a local area, Orange County, Hillsborough County, Pinellas County, whatever it may be, if they do not vote to remove Confederate statues, then clearly the populace does not want to remove the Confederate statues. If they vote to remove the Confederate statues, then the populace wants to remove the Confederate statues. It's not for Tallahassee to decide. It's a very divisive issue, just like you said. It is. There are strong feelings on both sides of the aisle. This is up for the population to decide. These strong, very polarizing issues are not for me to decide for you. That's not my job to enact what I feel is right. It's my job to support you. So situations like this, I've got to look back at local levels. If Hillsborough County says we don't want a Confederate monument out in front of the courthouse, they vote to remove it, then we remove it. If we vote to keep it, then we keep it. Let the public speak. That's what a democracy is. Let us use our voice for these reasons.
Thank you. Mr. McClure.
Well, like I said earlier, I'm a big fan of home rule, and I'm a big fan of local government making those decisions. On the Confederate monument issue, personally, I think that they should just stay. But I tend to agree that, you know, let the local levels of government handle it. But I would also say that the most powerful level of government is in the voter's booth, the individual voter. And so maybe on some of these issues, we should send it to the booth and let the folks decide.
Thank you.
So if I understand it, the state of Florida doesn't want to protect health care for individuals, but they want to protect statues that, to me, literally represent racism. Personally, me, am I going to take that statue down? No, but I won't support no legislation that brings it down. And if you guys want to bring it down in Hillsborough County, by all means, go ahead. If we do it the right way, everyone's opinion is heard, but they have no place in our society. And if they want to keep it, they can take it to their backyard. But it doesn't need to be up in front of the public where we all have to see it, where black people have to be reminded of slavery all the time, like it didn't destroy their people. That's absolutely unacceptable. And it's another example of preemption, of the state telling the cities, you can't decide for yourselves. We will decide for you. So I am against that bill completely, to protect those statutes.
When I was a candidate in 2012 and 16, I received an approach from a specific group about that issue of the statutes. The first thing I told that lady was, you need to understand, I'm a Floridian now. I read my history. I get educated in the history of the United States of America. I understand the position about why few centuries ago this monument was created. But now you need to understand the reality that this monument not doing nothing good. We need to remove this monument. We need to continue to educate the people about what's right and what's wrong. And we need to start building a better society. When I told that to that lady, she told me, do you remove it or not? And I say, my community say yes, and we need to take it out because that monument was made with our tax money. My point is, as a state representative, I go looking forward for this not happen again. Right now, in the district, we got a huge monument, a Confederate monument next to the I-75. If we can put it down? No. Why? Because they found the loophole that they can do whatever they want in a private property. And we need to suck it up. I know in the federal government, Department of Transportation, not go to allow none of you to put a big distraction next to the highway. In my district is a church who tried to put a nice cross down the road, and the federal government telling no because that got to distract the drivers. If that sounds fair? No. But we need to change policy for this not happen. My recommendation for all of you, you got common sense. If you want to honor your beliefs, your people, your community, your ancestor, you have the free to do it on your house, on your private property. But in public property, we need to put a line that cannot happen again. Thank you.
Thank you. I have one more email question. I was asked to squeeze this in if we can, and maybe we can keep our answers brief. I know it's not an easy question. Farming is an industry requiring much use of water, particularly
just give me liberty, or give me